Hi, everyone. We'll wait till everyone kind of gets on board and start in just a couple of seconds. And I am super excited because I have like all these foods here to show you. And then we're also going to do some live coaching, like as if you're going to walk in, if you walked into my wellness consultation, what it would look like. And now I just want to, before everyone starts, I wanted to remind you this is not medical information. If there's any specific medical conditions, you need to talk to your doctor about this. This is for informational purposes only. I will try to help you to the best of my ability. And I'm very excited to get started. So for those of you who haven't heard the topic of this call, it's going to be the foods that I've eaten today that I've kind of like, it's kind of embarrassing because I am not doing a great job today of eating enough. It's just been one of those busy days. I just came from a podcast and I'm here now. I'm planning to kind of eat a lot after this. So I'll kind of share with you what my thought process is and what I'm doing today. And we're going to do the real live coaching. So last time we really just did Q&A. This time I really want to dive deep with one person, two people probably on this call, and spend like 10 to 15 minutes with that person. So those of you who are joining know that the first 15 minutes of this class are free. And then we go into our, like the community gets to continue. And I'd love for you to just try it out and see what you think of it. And we'll go from there. So that being said, I'm going to get started with showing you some of the things that I ate today and also the supplements. It's like a kind of a hot mess because I had to figure out how to put everything on my counter. And I'm being very honest because I'm trying a few things out that I don't necessarily use all the time, but I want to show you. So what I have here is a magnesium glycinate that I usually take at night. I have a couple of different brands, and like I tell you, it's not like that important to me necessarily to stick to one. Then I'm taking this omega-3, vegan omega-3, if you can see it. And it's a new chapter. I'm taking the Nature's Bounty hair growth. It's kind of candy. It's like a treat. It's like a gummy. I'm taking this probiotic right now. Although I talk to you about eating probiotics all the time, I'm testing this for myself because I love the science behind the Resbiotic. If you heard my podcast, you know that it's kind of interesting. I got these for my kids. They're like a 0 sugar vitamin D gummy. Listen, vitamin D deficiency is so common, and people honestly don't get enough. And there's a 25% increase in mortality when you have vitamin D deficiency. So I think it's one of the things I prioritize for my kids. For those of you who want to potentially be someone that I coach today, please put your request in for that in the chat. And I guess where the fire button is, and we'll do the first one. We already have one person scheduled. That's Rebecca. And then we'll do a second person as well. So you can kind of hear what Rebecca is talking about. And like, that's kind of the way we'll structure it. And at the end, I'll kind of go through the other things that I'm doing in my day, but I want to share with you what I started my day with. So I had a decaf cold brew, and I mixed it with some real cold brew. And then because I don't want to get too much caffeine, and then I put the chai protein in there. That's about 20 grams of protein in one scoop. You don't need a blender, which is what I love about the chai protein when you're in a rush. Just like mix it in with a spoon. That's something that I have made myself. And I had this. This is wild brine, dill and garlic, organic kraut. And the reason I have this is because I'm always telling you to eat more probiotic foods. I'm always in a rush. And so this is what I chose as my probiotic this morning. Ideally, you want to get 3 servings a day. I had these as a snack. These are dry roasted edamame from Sea Point Farms. They have protein in them, 14 grams in 1/3 of a cup. I might have had 2/3 of a cup. So I got some good protein in here. Remember, you want to get 30 grams of protein in your first meal or in the first part of your day. Then I even had some chai, and I'm just showing you this because I actually ate these. I had like 3 cuties in the car. I keep them in the car. They're super portable. And that's really what I've eaten so far. Oh, I had a little bit of this chocolate protein bar. I'll share that with you next time because no protein bars are perfect, but it's really delicious. It's like a organic coconut oil based and it's chocolate. It's like a treat. I had that as well. And then I will go through kind of the other things that I'm going to have in my day after this. What I'm not proud of is that I didn't have a lot of fiber yet. The edamame has a good amount of fiber. There's about 6 grams. And I told you I had about 2 servings. So I had 12 grams in that. And then maybe the fruit had a little bit of fiber, but you want to get up 30 grams a day. And I just didn't have time today. I think most of you can relate. It's really hard to get time to do these things. So I wanted, to spend a little bit of time on coaching you guys. And so here's what it's going to look like. You're going to come up on stage. So for example, once I kind of describe to you what we're doing, I'm going to bring Rebecca up on stage. You're going to talk about who you are, what your main issues are. You can even share with me lab results if you have them. You can share with me any part of your medical history that you don't mind sharing on this platform. You can share with me your specific questions about what you're struggling with and how we can help you. And really what I wanted to do is if we really dive deep with each of you over the next few months, and then we'll circle back and I will ask you a couple months from now, hey, Rebecca, how's it going with X, Y, and Z? So you can also get follow up on that. I think there's so much learning to be had with all of this stuff. So I think it'll be really, really fun. I'm very, very excited to do this with you. So if Rebecca is ready to come on live, I would love to take her on. And I know there's a little bit of a delay. So what I'm going to do for you there she is. Hi.
How are you?
How are you doing? I'm so happy to see you here.
Well, I am super, super excited, and I appreciate you taking the time to try to help me out on some stuff. And before we start, I just want to say, Dr. Shah is so incredibly real and such an amazing person, and I've been blessed to be able to work with her one-on-one, and she truly was a gift from God because I was struggling. I mean, I can't even begin to explain how bad I was struggling with a diagnosis of autoimmune chronic spontaneous idiopathic urticaria. Did I even say that right?
That is right. You said a couple of the words together. You could either say it's chronic autoimmune urticaria, or you can say chronic. So yes, I think the way people might know it themselves is chronic hives. And I say that because I talk to so many people who are like, wait, I didn't know this was a thing. I get hives all the time, or I get intermittent hives. So it's really important for you to talk about it. I'm so happy. And I know, tell them a little bit about what you have been doing and then some of your current struggles so we can really dive deep into
Sure.
Doing.
To kind of sum it up, I literally was allergic to myself, whether it was hot, cold, medication, food, everything made me break out in hives. And I'd worked with a couple of naturopaths. I'd done lots of research, tried all sorts of supplements, spent a large sum of money on supplements, and followed the Sabo diet, was all organic, cooking every meal fresh. I mean, I was trying to do everything I could to manage this histamine response. And it was really interfering with my sleep. And I was starting to get lots of anxiety. And I got in my car. I was visiting my daughter down in Bradenton. And I said, God, you have to send me something. And podcast came on of Amy and Ed Milet, and I listened to it and was just blown away. I thought, okay, so I got in the airport and I sat down and I looked at your programs and I thought, one-to-one coaching. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to send an email. And she got back to me, which amazed me. And so I felt like I was at the end of my rope with supplements and trying to navigate it and research it, and even work with concierge doctors, other naturopaths. Sorry about my dogs. I was really struggling with sleep. My blood work was not good. I was having thyroid issues. Lots of things I could see were starting to snowball. And I feel like now, after listening to your podcast and working with you some one-on-one, I'm gaining some control and some peace of mind around. I was the girl, I'm the girl who wants to do everything all natural and do it perfect. And Dr. Shah's given me like the permission and the freedom to say, you know what, this really is, you didn't get here overnight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a process. But one of the things is, I'm really curious about your sleep stack and really how to navigate that, and how to know really what to use, what are some things to look for if it's working. And I'm curious about a couple supplements that you've got that I really, really like the taste of. And now I'm curious about the chai, the unsweetened chai, and the protein. And I want to know the difference and how it works in our gut, because I think, a leaky gut is probably, I think we decided that we're working on. So
Yeah. So first of all, thank you, Rebecca, for sharing your story and your struggles. I think the whole point of this platform and the reason why I'm here is to kind of take some of the questions that people have, like basically a mini version of what we do together. And, for people who don't know, this kind of autoimmune condition that you have, there's no real like snap cure for it. And what we've been talking about is changing your gut health, putting you on some medications that actually could help, and suggesting and giving you permission to say like, hey, biggest thing I want everyone to know is like, you don't have to do either or. It's not like, hey, I'm going to do it with food without any supplements or medication. You can do it all. Like you can change your diet, which we talked about doing a gut healthy diet. You can take the supplements. We talked about certain supplements that are going to really benefit you. And then talk about, improving yourself with medications. It's okay to take medications in cases where something like what you have, a chronic autoimmune urticaria, that there is a solution medically that could help you at least bridge the gap. So let's talk about your sleep. So I honestly believe that sleep is such a huge issue for so many people. And we don't ever really get coaching around what about the medicines and the supplements, because everyone says, I think you've probably heard, and I want to hear what your nighttime routine is, but you're probably getting an hour of light during the day. Do you get an hour of nature time, natural light?
I do not. I have a
Okay.
happy lamp, but with the way the sun comes up and when I've got to be somewhere, there's just not that hour window. And now the temperatures and everything.
Oh, I know. Add it up. So you may not get 1 hour at a time, but you can get 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 20 minutes, add it all up, and then you could get your hour.
Does it have to be before a certain time of day for it to benefit the circadian rhythm or anything?
So our bodies detect what time of day it is. So early morning light and late evening light. So early morning is number one, if you can get early morning, low angle sunlight to help your circadian rhythms reset. Because when they see that early angle light, they kind of know to tell the brain and the body that about 12 hours from now, we're going to start kind of the wind down process. And that's really what you want. You want to align yourself with the natural circadian rhythms. So your body naturally wants to go to sleep at the time it's supposed to go to sleep.
Okay.
So 1 hour a day of natural light, and it can be just little pieces all day long, adding up to 1 hour. If you can get that low angle sunlight for even a couple of minutes, ideal.
Right.
Okay. And then do you stop screens 1 hour before bed?
Truth be told, no. I'd like to.
No, I know. I'm the same way. I feel like my 20 minutes is like the most I can do, but they've done multiple studies, and all they did is like, hey, if you're having trouble sleeping, just turn off your screens 1 hour before bed, and then you can like read or do other stuff, skincare, bath, shower, whatever, as if you were just going to go to bed an hour before. Just put your phone on the charger or whatever it is, devices.
Okay.
And the scientists, they did it on toddlers, and they saw like such a huge improvement in sleep for both the toddlers and the parents, right? So I think it's not for everyone, and obviously it's not every day, but the more you can kind of get those screens out of your life a few hours before bed, the better it's going to be for you.
Do the blue light blockers work?
Only partially.
Yeah.
It's better.
Revs the brain up with the phone.
If you're like, if you're like, I need to get this done, I have a test tomorrow, etc., that's different. But if
it's
you're
more
really,
about checking the phone to see my daughter, send her a text night.
Yes. Yeah. What I do for my kids is I allow them to come to my home screen. I don't know if you have an iPhone, but you can make it so that your kids' text not only will ring, but can come to your home screen. So when you're talking about texting at night, right? In the morning, what I do is I just check my home screen. I check the front of my phone to make sure no emergency text came through. And so if my daughter or son or husband texts, they will be on my front screen and I can see it. And that way I don't have to open my phone to check like, hey, did anybody text me? Because once you do that, then it's automatically, you open email, you open Instagram, at least for me, like it's just automatic. So often, and I do that because I know that if I'm putting my phone down an hour before bed, that if there was some emergency or if they needed me, they could contact me still. Okay, so that's another thing. Do you have blackout curtains?
Yes, I have a blackout shade, and I use the things.
A face mask?
Yes.
Okay, earplugs?
No.
Okay, earplugs can be helpful as well because kind of do the ones that are sticky. They're they're so inexpensive. They're from Walgreens or CVS and they stick to your hair, but these are the simplest. I think it's silicone. It's like the ones that actually really, really block out noise, and you can mold it, put them in your ears. And when you wake up in the middle of the night, try not to look at your phone or turn on the lights. So for example, if you can just shuffle to the bathroom, go to the bathroom, come back and stop yourself from looking at your phone, looking at the clock, it can really help you when you're trying to fall back asleep. So that's another thing. And then of course, I shared with you a sleep stack that I'm going to share with everyone right now, because I think the sleep stack, it's not supposed to be instead of all these things that we're talking about, but I think it's what we would do in addition to. So let's see, sleep stack. It's going to be melatonin, 0.5 to 1 milligram. So the reason I say 0.5 to 1 milligram is because there's studies that show when you have super high levels of melatonin, it can actually disturb your sleep. And it works like a hormone. We produce melatonin in our brain. We really don't want to over supplement. Otherwise, it'll shut off our own melatonin, theoretically. It's got good research around it. Magnesium, about 225 to 250 milligrams every day. That can really help with sleep quality. Magnesium glycinate is great for anxiety before bed. Then we have zinc, 11.25 milligrams nightly. Then we have L-theanine, 200 milligrams daily. We have ashwagandha, 600 milligrams daily, and valerian root, 500 milligrams daily. Now, these are not supposed to be taken all at once, because a lot of people will say, I had some bad dreams or side effects or something, and then we'll never know if you take all of these at the same time. So I know, Rebecca, you already take some of these things, and we basically were just adding on. The chamomile should be in there too. I don't know where chamomile went, but chamomile is one of the ones that you can add.
Are there any supplements you shouldn't take with a hydroxyzine? Okay,
so the things that you don't want to take every night for sleep is something like an Ambien, a trazodone, and even things like Benadryl and hydroxyzine, although they're in a different category, they're not medications, they're over the counter. There's some good evidence that as you age, you should not have things like Benadryl and hydroxyzine because it crosses that blood-brain barrier. And although it'll make you sleepy, it also seems to raise the risk of dementia in elderly.
Is that what crossing the blood-brain barrier means?
Okay. Yeah. So for example, Zyrtec or Allegra or Claritin, it doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier as much, very, very little. Whereas, and they're also antihistamines, but the older antihistamines like hydroxyzine and Benadryl cross the blood-brain barrier, making you get the effects of the medicine. And that's what makes you sleepy, but that's also what raises your risk of falls, delirium, and dementia as you age. So I would say definitely if you're taking a prescription medication for sleep, you want to learn how to decrease that. But even if you're taking something like a Benadryl every night or a hydroxyzine every night, I know you have used a lot of hydroxyzine for your hives because it helps with the itching.
But it really helped my sleep too. And
yeah. And so I want you to try to see if we can not be taking it every day, kind of reduce it slowly. I think it may be something that will take time. It may even take a couple of months to get you off of that because your body started to really want that for sleep. But over time. And so you have to do everything else though. All the sleep habits that we just talked about and, nature time and all that. Plus, I think you should not have caffeine afternoon if you can. And then also limit your liquids like 1 or 2 hours before bed.
Ooh, okay. I drink a lot of teas.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the night awakenings. And then some people, your body temperature has to drop 1 degree, your core, to go to sleep. And so that's why people often say, keep your room really cold or take a shower right before bed. Because as you know, even if the shower's hot, when you come out, you're like freezing. Right. So it's going to help you not only relax, maybe get away from your phone for that extra 15 minutes, but also help your core body temperature drop while you sleep. So that's going to help you fall asleep faster. Of course, there's a couple different times in a woman's life when sleep becomes very difficult, and that's pregnancy, newborn stage, and perimenopause and menopause because of the changes of the hormones. The hormones go into the brain, and now you have lots of sleep disturbances. So that can be a real issue. So I want to make sure that I'm going to wrap it up in about 2 or 3 minutes here so that we can have one more person come up on stage. And so team Bethany and team, if you guys want to get someone else ready to go deep like we are with Rebecca, we can do that. So Rebecca, the other thing I was thinking, you asked about the chai protein. The thing I like about the chai protein for you.
Looking at it.
Do you love it?
I love
I'm
it.
so happy.
I absolutely love it.
The reason I like it for you is you could have that later in the day without having to worry about the caffeine. There's no caffeine in there. And so I think that is one of the benefits of that. One of the other things that people often do for sleep is put yourself on a cortisol reset. Have you ever done that?
I think you sent it to me, and a lot of the things I was doing, but I probably should go back and look at that again.
Yeah, because you are someone who has a lot of stress in your life. Yeah, you have a lot of stress in your life, and really taking time to de-stress. And the reason why I thought of that while talking about the protein pie is that really sticking to foods that are high in protein, high in fiber, high in probiotics, and really limiting the fast food, the processed food, because these are all things that are disturbing your sleep and circadian rhythms. And then doing a lot of walking and maybe staying away from some of that very high cortisol activities.
Like the weights?
Well, weights are okay. But like if you're doing those classes where, so this is what I like to say, try to stay on the extremes, meaning that lots of slow walking like I'm doing right now, lots of hikes. You can do weights, yoga.
Swim. I swim.
Swim. That's on the one edge. And then the other edge is like running up a hill for like a couple seconds. Okay. So I feel like those edges, as you get older, those are the edges that you want to stay on. The middle ground, like the aerobics class, that's like nor here nor there. It's not going to give you if you love it because you go with your friends every week, go for it. But it's not giving you kind of that special things that you need. So the sprint is really great for your heart. It's really great for your circulation, great for your brain health. It can anti-age your heart by up to 20 years. And then on the other end, walking grows the hippocampus part of your brain. It can help you decrease your stress levels. And cardiovascular, of course, swimming, walking are like, you should be doing that 4 times a week. So I would say 4, 3, 2, 1, 4 times a week cardio / like walking, swimming, anything like that. 3 times a week weight bearing exercise. So that can be, anything where you have to actually use your muscles or stimulate your muscles. And then 2 times a week hot therapy like sauna or hot yoga, and then 1 time a week a sprint. The sprint is the hardest one because a lot of adults have not sprint in years, and it's really difficult. And you can start with just like a couple of seconds. Like I said, just run up the hill once a week, or just like run up some stairs. And then you can kind of increase your goal. If you wanted a goal, would be a total of 4 minutes once a week or 1 time. So you could break it up into 30 seconds, 8 times, or you could that's like at the very top. But even if you start with 1 sprint and add it to your regimen for like a couple seconds, that's where I started because I hadn't sprinted in a long, long time. So that is what I would recommend. So I'm so happy to have you. And
thank you.
I hope that people found value in listening to the deep dive with Rebecca. I'm really grateful to have you here. And thank you for sharing your story. And let's do this. Next class, next week, I want to hear a quick update on how things are going.
Okay.
Certainly. So we can all kind of learn from each other.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Thank
Rebecca.
You so
have
much.
a great
day.
Appreciate
you.
Okay. Bye. Oh, hi. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. How are you?
What is your first name? Because your handle is something different, I think.
Catherine.
Catherine, so nice to meet you.
I
can't wait to dive deep. So pretend you're just walking through the door and we've met each other and want you to tell us what's going on. How can we help you?
Well, I am 63 years old. I have recently been diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I had a lumpectomy. It was successful, but the type of cancer that I have is progesterone and estrogen positive. And so since I'm having a hard time understanding how I can get the benefits of the estrogen and the progesterone for my body, because I believe they're so protective, but yet I can't take them. So I take relaxafen to suppress those. And so yet I feel like my muscle is atrophying. Even though I lift weights, I teach Pilates, I just don't feel as good as I want to.
Okay, let me ask you this. A couple more clarifying questions. Where do you live?
South Carolina.
How old were you when you went through menopause?
52.
Okay, so you're about 10 years out, 11 years out.
Yes.
Okay. Any other symptoms? So you said muscle changes?
Tired. I have hypothyroid.
Or do you take thyroid replacement?
I do. I take NP thyroid.
Okay. What other medicines are you on?
I take, what else do I take? The relaxafen and the NP thyroid. And I do take the trazodone that you just spoke about.
Do you take it every night?
I do, because I have a hard time, with menopause, we have a hard time sleeping.
100%.
Second guessing that.
Did you hear that stack? Did you hear what I often recommend as my stack? Okay. So what you want to do is you don't want to go cold turkey with anything, especially not something, that's so important as a sleep medication. Okay. You always want to kind of say, hey, once a week, I'm going to go half dose on the days where you're already tired. You're already doing pretty good. Maybe you take a half dose. You're not going to go cold turkey. You're going to take a half dose and you're going to add one of those things, couple of those things if you'd like. Just start to stack it and start to see how you feel. And that's how that slow process happens. And you might be like, oh my God, that was not even close, right? Like that's because I always describe it. And I have been describing this. It's like a water gun versus a machine gun, which is what the medication is, right? So it's not ever going to be head to head, but that's not what we need, right? We just want you to be on less over time so that you don't need it for the rest of your life, because you're young and you have many, many years ahead of you, and we want you to be happy and healthy. And if it's something that you do want to do, then just go very slow and let your doctor know that you want to do this so that they can partner with you on that. So that if there is something else, any other concerns, that we can address that. How's your vitamin D levels?
They're better. The relaxofen has actually helped my osteoporosis.
Okay, cool.
Because I'm small. I'm 5'4", 120 pounds, and I've had osteoporosis for a while. And the relaxofen seems to help.
Good. Okay, great.
Because I did read that it is prescribed for people with osteoporosis.
Yes.
In addition to cancer.
Yes. So I'm glad that you're getting that done. When you say you do Pilates, you teach Pilates.
I do.
What is your exercise regimen like?
Oh, I exercise 2 to 3 hours a day. If I'm not doing Pilates, I'm walking, I'm lifting weights.
I love that.
I'm very active, very active.
I love that. Okay, that's the best. Honestly, that is the best thing you can be doing for your body. Do you have enough social contacts besides your work?
Well, probably not as many as I would like, but the Pilates studio, the members there, that's my community, that's my tribe. And then I'm involved in my church, my Sunday school class.
Good. That's really actually protective. So do you have friends that you can call if something really awesome is happening? Or if there's something really terrible happening?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
That is the definition of community. Like someone who may notice that you're not there. Like if you didn't show up to Sunday school or, church or Pilates, would somebody notice and reach out to you? That's the power.
Yes,
okay, good.
They would.
And that's so great. That is so protective.
Yes, I have great community.
Yeah, that is really protective. That raises your longevity by up to 50%. Having just that community.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's so good.
I'm glad to
hear
that.
What about your supplements? What do you take?
Oh my goodness. We don't have enough time to talk about my supplements. I take C, I take the D3, I take a probiotic, I take K2, I take
omega-3
fish oil.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yep, I take a fish oil, I take CoQ10, I take sulforaphane, I take lutein.
Magnesium.
I take the magnesium L-threonate,
okay.
and I take that at night with the melatonin and the trazodone.
Got it. How much melatonin are you having?
Let me see.
That's what we're here for. We're going to get you to the next level.
It is 300 micrograms, 6-hour time release.
300 micrograms. Okay, that's good. Perfect. That's a good dose. Okay, so here's the thing. If I had to pick the supplements that would be the best for you, I would say vitamin D, omega-3s, and magnesium. I also, for you, I might suggest creatine.
Oh, I do take creatine.
Good.
I do. And your protein.
Hi, great.
And HMB.
What is that?
It's like hydroxy something butyrate.
Oh, yeah. Muscles. Okay, got it. Okay, yeah. Butyrate. Yeah, got it. So how's your gut health?
As far as I know, it's good.
Do you eat enough fiber and probiotic foods and protein?
I'm glad you brought that up. I drink a lot of those Olippops. Do you like those for probiotics?
So here's what I think. Okay. And I'll be completely honest with you because I am here to tell you the truth. These are not gut promoting foods. Okay. If you were going to have a soda pop instead. So say if you didn't have the Olipop, you would have picked up a Big Gulp.
Oh no.
Then these are better options.
Right.
But are they health promoting? No, not Poppy, not Olipop. Okay. So what I would suggest is if you could do sparkling water, if you do plain water, great. But sometimes you need something, right? Sparkling water with flavor, sparkling water with lime, sparkling water with lemon, orange, any of those things are great. I think that's going to improve. So the reason why I said creatine for you is because you're worried about that muscle breakdown.
Yes.
And when you said you work out many hours a day, do you have enough recovery?
Such as?
Like, do you spend just as much time or maybe like half as much time in recovery? So stretching, sauna, meditation,
Probably
mindfulness.
not. I do enjoy an Epsom salt bath every night. And
do you do
since I've
sauna?
heard, I don't have access to a sauna. So since I saw your post about hot baths, raising your core temperature, I've been focusing on that.
Yes, that's great. So a lot of the inexpensive gyms, if you look, like a YMCA, or you need a dry sauna. And so that can be a good option. Now, if you're doing hot yoga or hot Pilates, you can pretty much get the same thing. And same with hot baths. So you're probably getting enough of that. But really hot therapy is something that I would think would be really great for you to relax, also recover, and make sure you're doing enough flexibility, kind of not necessarily active, but I want you to also remember, it's like you're a pro football player. Pro football players only go on the field once a week. And then the rest of the week, they're doing practice and recovery. And so you want to think of yourself as kind of pushing yourself to that sprint level, 85% of your heart rate once a week. Do you do that?
No, but I did. Now that you've posted about the 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to start.
Yeah. So like one day a week, that's going to keep your heart really young. Because if you think about it, as you get older, the heart is a muscle, right? If you're never pushing it to 85%, like the max, it's going to forget how to get there, right? Most adults don't ever get to that point. And that's okay. It's not like you have to do it all the time. But there's good evidence now that adding a sprint session about once a week can really anti-age your heart up to 20 years. Now, you would not be in that category. Like the study looked at sedentary people. So individuals who never exercised, and they put them on a 2-year kind of exercise plan. And they looked at the hertz before and after. And basically they did this kind of 4, 3, 2, 1 type plan, not exactly the same. They did more like a base of biking and walking and then weight training. And then once a week they had to do a sprint session, but they worked up to it. So they didn't get to the sprint session until about a year into the workout. And then they did the sprint session along with the rest of the workouts for about 6 months. And then they continued everything together. So at the end of 2 years, they looked at their hearts again, and they were able to see that the heart looked 20 years younger. It's soft and flexible and moving like someone who was in their 40s, and these people were in their 60s. So it's really, really exciting. So I think that's one thing you can definitely add. Definitely add more recovery time because you're working out a lot. Do you do nature time for 1 hour a day?
I do. I've been doing 30 minutes, but I'll increase it. Yeah, I've been
and you
getting
can do it
my
in
sunlight.
You can do it in small bursts, and that's going to help your sleep as well. And how long ago did you start on the sleep kind of regimen that you're on right now?
With the trazodone?
Yeah.
Probably about 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. So it'll take that much time, if not more, to find a new regimen for you. So just take your time. It's not a rush. And here's what I think about hormone therapy. Have you even discussed it with your doctors?
My oncologist won't even discuss it.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So you're the kind of case though, where it would be a difficult conversation because just from what I know about you from today, you're about 10 years post-menopause and you've had this breast cancer diagnosis. Those are both the biggest red flags when it comes to hormone replacement therapy.
Right.
Because the whole controversy happened because they saw a increase in heart attacks and death in women who are taking hormone therapy, but it was in that older cohort, meaning the 10 years plus cohort. So what I'm saying is like right now, what we're believing in the new world is that hormone replacement therapy can be useful for some people. But if you're at the 10-year mark or more, or if you've had a breast cancer that is hormone receptor positive, those are both red flags. Not necessarily crazy, like closed book contraindications, but something that would be a difficult situation kind of arguing for hormone therapy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think all these other things that we're talking about, the sprint session, getting your sleep under control, doing a little bit more about your stress, optimizing your daily life is something that I think is going to really elevate your life. I'd love to hear any final questions and then we'll get started with this plan and then you'll get back to us and see how you're doing.
That sounds great. Thank you
Any
so
other
much,
questions?
Dr. Shah. Not that I can think of at the moment. I was just shocked that y'all called on me. And
Yay!
so that was just such a blessing. Thank you so much.
So honored. Okay, great. I loved it. The final thing I would say about the foods is that what I'm planning to do today is having my fiber as a salad or a veggie scramble as my dinner/lunch, kind of that 4 to 5. I'm probably going to have it around 5 p.m. And I always try not to eat at the very end of the day. You want to, as much as possible, stop eating 2 to 3 hours before bed, but at least even if you can stop by, say, 8 o'clock and you're going to bed by 9:30 or 10, that would be fine. The earlier you can end dinner, the better it is for your gut, for your brain, for your sleep. So today, because I had a compressed day, I'm going to try to do my biggest meal at 5 with a lot of fiber. So it might be black bean, it could be a salad with black beans and tofu. It could be egg scramble with a salad. Something, it could be a curry, Thai curry with vegetables and some protein. Something I haven't planned it yet, but something at 5. And then I always end with a dessert, like a dark chocolate or actually, I'm going to tell you what the dark chocolate bar, because I had half of it in the morning and I'm going to have the other half at night. And I'll tell you what it is because I just got it. I usually do Instacart for a lot of my groceries because I think that it helps me kind of be a little bit efficient with my time. So I will tell you, if I can find it, Honey Mama's Cocoa Truffle Bars. Honey Mama Cocoa Truffle Bars. And the reason I'm liking them right now is that it's organic raw honey, organic coconut oil, cocoa powder, coconut, pecans, vanilla, and salt. And that's it. And remember that the cacao bean, the bean that chocolate is made from, is it's full of antioxidants and is extremely healthy. And the more cacao that you have, so super dark chocolate, high flavanol count dark chocolate, it actually mobilizes stem cells. So the stem cells are cells that can become any cell and they can help regenerate parts of your body that is injured or needs regenerating. And I mean, I eat chocolate because it's also delicious, but I also eat chocolate because it has some health promoting benefits. I also have some blueberries to snack on because blueberries are a food that within an hour, a couple hours of having them, they actually improve cognition and brain health. And they've seen this in children's studies. So I try to force my children to have it, even though they don't like blueberries. So that's the realest real I can be. All right. We have time for maybe a mini consult. Anybody want to do like a 5 to 10 minute one? And then we will, of course, do many, many more as we move through the different classes. And this is what's fun. I think it's really fun for you and informational and enjoyable to really see these deep dives. I think that is something that I want to do more of because that's where you're going to really feel the value of this kind of platform is going deep. So if there's anybody who wants to come up kind of for a mini deep dive, and we can always kind of continue next time with everybody else who wants to be a part of it, we can definitely do that. And then what I'll say is that usually what I want, if you're coming on a deep dive in the future, if you have your supplement list, if you have some labs to share and you're okay with sharing it with everyone, if you have anything you want, just prep it beforehand, bring it. And then that way, when you come on live, we're able to kind of go through everything at once. And so let's do anybody want to, either Greg or Bethany, you want to share a question and we can answer a couple of questions?
Sure thing. Yes. Question from Marilyn. Would a protein shake be okay an hour before you go?
So it depends. If you're struggling with sleep, if you're struggling with digestion, if you're struggling with gut, like unknown symptoms, then I would move that protein shake up a little bit, like to give your body 2 to 3 hours before bed. If you don't have any issues and you love your protein shake before bed.
Next question. So as far as heat therapy goes, what's your time suggestion? For example, in the sauna?
20 minutes. So, okay. All the data for sauna therapy, or the majority, like the large data sets, are from Finland. And in Finland, everybody has access to a sauna. It's just part of their culture. People go to the sauna. So the data that we have are from people who it's a big part of their life. It's a normal thing to do. And so it's a little hard for us to recreate that because one, it's not as accessible to us. We're not as used to it. And so this recommendation of like 15 to 20 minutes and the temperatures that they have their saunas are like 167 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to take a little getting used to. For me, at that temperature, like within a couple of minutes, you need to get out and take a break. Okay. So what I'm saying is it's not like, oh, tomorrow or tonight, you should just go do a 20-minute sauna at 167. Like most of us, including myself, cannot do that. So start easy. Start with maybe it's a heated yoga class, the ones that aren't as hot. Maybe you start with 5 minutes of the sauna, 2 minutes of the sauna. I mean, I think the first time I did it, it's like that funny meme where you think you've been doing something for an hour and you look down at your clock and it's like 2 minutes. Like that's literally what happened to me because your core body temperature will rise so fast and you'll feel uncomfortable very quickly. A lot of us, like for me, I can see on my watch that my heart rate was going up. And so you want to be careful, go slow, take it easy, but work yourself up to 20 minutes. That's like there was like, okay, the studies are incredible. 50% decrease in heart disease and 60-something percent decrease in stroke with the highest sauna users, 4 to 5 times a week for about 20 minutes at a time. It is really incredible. It's enough for me actually to be incorporating hot yoga and sauna into my life much more regularly than I was before because I thought it was just like a nice to have, but I love this data. And so I'm doing it more and more. And I think we'll probably spend a little more time talking about heat therapy because I know that's a big question that people have. Greg, let's just take one final question and we can continue everything next week.
There's a question about using a weighted vest. And does that count as a weighted exercise if you're doing walking with?
Yes. Okay. I love weighted vests. I don't know. I'm going to a favorite things party tomorrow. And you're supposed to, I don't know if any of you have ever been, but you have to bring like 4 of your favorite things. And then other people bring 4 of their favorite things. And then you kind of pick out of a hat and you end up going home with 4 new things. And the reason I'm telling you this is that I really, really wanted to bring a weighted vest to that because it's a game changer. There are now multiple studies that are looking at weighted vests in weight loss, in body composition change, in giving that bone and muscle a stimulus that you're probably not getting enough of. So as you know, every woman gets their peak muscle mass in their 30s. And so after that, you're always pushing on the decline. So you're pushing against the decline. And so the more you can do to increase the weight-bearing exercise, including weighted vests, the better it is for your muscles and bones, along with other parameters, health parameters. I'm a huge fan of the weighted vest. The problem with the weighted vest, and the reason why I'm second guessing it, and I'll tell you what I am maybe getting instead, is that it depends on your body type, how heavy you want to go. So if you're asking me where you should start, I would say 5 to 10% of your body weight is where you should start. Now, there are some people in this class that can probably take more than 10% of their body weight. And there's others that are going to struggle with even 5% of their body weight. And so I think it's really a personal decision. And if you go on Amazon, you can get like a 6-pound, 12-pound, 18-pound, 24-pound. So it's really something that you want to personalize. So what I was considering instead, and what you can consider instead, there's these bala bangles. They're like weights for your arms. And they come in smaller sizes, and smaller weights, like 2 pounds, for example. So 2 pounds on each side. You're getting a really easing in to the weighted vest situation. And then you can get used to that, then maybe get a weighted vest. For me, I love the weighted vest. It's not super beautiful or sexy, but I really don't care. So that's my 2 cents on that. Wanted to tell you guys that, okay, wait, do I have anything else to show you? Oh, yes, I do. In my little handy dandy area. Okay. This is by Sweet Leaf. It's a monk fruit sweetener. Here. It's a monk fruit sweetener. Why do I like this? Artificial sweeteners, obviously controversial. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to have a Diet Coke. I really don't. I don't think it's not on the top of my list of things to completely remove out of my life. However, when you can, if you carry this thing around in your car, your lunchbox, you are able to add something to your coffee if you want something sweet. It's like 80 servings in one of these, and you can add it to your shake or you can add it to your coffee. And monk fruit is a really nice natural sweetener that doesn't have a glycemic impact. And it's something that I often travel with because I think it's really easy to add to your coffee, or if you want something like as a treat. Now, if you don't need any sweeteners, amazing, more power to you. But for those of us like me who I do want something a little bit sweet after my meals, it can really help you with those. So wanted to end with that. Again, I'm not connected to any of these things that I showed you today. This is not like, except for the chai protein, that's I am connected to that. But other than that, everything is something that I'm just happen to be using. I'm experimenting a lot. I've been trying a lot of new supplements. It's something I don't love, but I'm trying things and testing them out on myself. There's a few other things I'm testing out. I might show them to you next time, but I know we're out of time today. So I wanted to thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you to Rebecca and Catherine for being so open and honest and willing to share their struggles and so much about their life. And I'm really excited to see how you can kind of take this information and elevate your life. And I'll see you next week, same time, same place.